to tell you some random ways today to tell if your succulent needs more light, including stretching. Your succulent, if the leaves are folding down, it's getting flatter, it has bedhead, and also some weird lightening towards the center of the leaves. So let's get started. Stretching. Now this is for an echeveria or sempervivum or like other rosette succulents. The first thing you want to look for is there a lot of space between the leaves like there is on this one? This is stretching pretty hard. Here is another example of a stretched echeveria. I've kind of given up trying to keep this thing as a rosette, honestly, and just interpret it as a fuzzy bush at this point. One more example of an echeveria that is stretching. You can see the space between the leaves. I have no idea what this is, but my granny got it for me, and it was spewing babies out, and this is the only one that survived my greenhouse. Your succulents are getting flat. Is the leaves sort of sloping down instead of sticking up like this? You can see in the center they're sticking up, but these outer ones are sort of fluffed down. This is this plant. No idea how to say this. It's like huefeli or something. An example of the leaves pointing down on an echeveria are this. I want to say this is my echeveria Morning Beauty. I could be lying to you, but you can see that the leaves are all sort of pancaking down, and in the center they're sticking up, and it just looks kind of silly and ratty. That's how you describe it. If your plant is getting flatter instead of forming like a nice sort of spiky ball, it might need more light. Super pretty. Here, this was really pretty until like 2 weeks ago. This is my Echeveria subulpina. But it used to be super pretty and it had like really nice tips. It was like my favorite plant for plant porn. It kind of glowed. But now it's just, in the last like 2 weeks, it was fine for the first month in the basement, but it's all of a sudden started stretching, like the pups just get ridiculous. Some of the leaves are sort of sloping down and also like curving, if I can get, you can see this one right here is sort of like bending down, like it's like there's a weight hanging off of it kind of thing, like a leaf with a drop of water. That's also another indication that sometimes your plant might need more light. Your succulents have bedhead. Echeveria agavoides frank. I really like this plant. It gets like a super cool like peachy red color in the summer, but since I've taken it inside in the last few weeks, it's started to, the leaves have just sort of started going to go everywhere. Like it went from being a nice rosette to like the equivalent of a succulent bedhead. But like the middle leaves you can see are like clustered pretty hard. In the center, they're like all sticking almost straight up. It's pretty awkward. Yeah, and then the other ones are sort of laying flat, and it just looks frankly ridiculous. Ha, Frank the plant looks ridiculous. Bad pun. Another agavoids. This is my ebony, and you can see that the leaves are also sort of pointing and curving down, and it's also lost. It used to have like actually nice color. Like you can see, there's like pretty red tips here, and they were all like that, and then it's lost some color. So I'm gonna try to put that in brighter light and color it up again because it was pretty. This thing is also doing a little bit of succulent bedhead. You can see the, once again, the center leaves are sort of closer together, and then the other ones are sort of flattening out towards the edges. This thing, I don't know what it's doing, but it's compact. It just looks silly. It's one of those, I think it's doing one of those things where it's like, ooh, what if I suddenly get huge and don't grow out in a normal pattern, and I just all of a sudden start growing leaves twice the size of the other ones? Your succulents have lighter centers. Is it losing the nice color that it had, and also developing significantly lighter areas, almost like a sort of yellow-green towards the center of the new growth in the rosette? You know, in terms of color, some of it might just be, you know, if you have it in crazy bright light or like really pretty cold, it might just be stressed, and it might, when you take it in, it might be totally healthy and just sort of lose color. But I usually also look for like this sort of light green, which is sometimes accompanied by stretching. Here's another example of, it's not like terribly light starved, but you can see it probably could use a little bit more light. The insides are sort of turning yellow-green, or like a butter yellow in this point. This is, in fact, one of the first succulents I ever got 2 years ago. And another example, I showed you this one before for stretching, but you can also see that the insides of the leaves are not as colored up as they could be. This is by no means a comprehensive list of things succulents will do when they need more light, but you will notice that a lot of times different symptoms will sort of happen at the same time, like the center is getting the pale yellow-green, and then also the leaves turning down or stretching. Yeah. Anywho, at some point I'll do an update on all the plants I showed you in this video once they get unhideous looking, but until then, do things and enjoy plants.